Dear friends, Foxians, and the women of my country, I am Dr. Shanta Kumari, President of the Federation of Obstetrics and Gynecological Societies of India. As a doctor and a woman myself, I have observed very closely how prevalent violence against women is across the strata of our society and the enormous impact it has on the health of our women. My theme for the year as the President Foxy is Foxy for all always, and DHEERA, Stop Violence Against Women.
Dr. Shanta Kumari, who has relentlessly campaigned for the issues of girl child. I was happy to be the ambassador of Foxy Figure Ox in 2030, and I hope that me being an ambassador has motivated a lot of girls and many families.
Violence against women is a serious human rights violation, leading to injury and sometimes even death. Unfortunately, 1 in 3 women experience some sort of physical and sexual violence during their lifetime. Violence in pregnancy is also widely prevalent, leading to unwanted pregnancies, unsafe abortions, neglected pregnancies with no antenatal care, all these contributing to maternal morbidity and near miss. As obstetricians and gynecologists, we have a great opportunity to assess and support women who experience violence because of the unique opportunity where we get to see them during the pregnancy, during the family planning visits, during their annual checkups, and multiple other times when they come to us. I strongly believe that by eliminating the violence against women, we are not only reaching the SDG goals, but also creates a just and equal society for our women. Until we make men and boys active partners, we can never end the violence against women. In an endeavor to sensitize our own fraternity, my initiative of DHEERA was started to eliminate violence against women.
I completely support her vision and mission as President Foxy and also especially support her campaign, DHEERA, Stop Violence Against Women.
It was in 2016 at the launch of DHEERA. We brought together the police, the obstetrician gynecologists, the National Commission for Women, the women and men on one single platform to wear orange and say no to violence against women. We organized the public forum and cyclothon to launch DHEERA. In 2017 at the Foxy Figo Congress, we partnered with men and organized the bikeathon and the flash mob. The high point of DHEERA was at the International Figo Congress at Rio, Brazil in 2018. The declaration on no to violence against women was signed with Figo and WHO. It was here global societies pledged their support to end this violence against women. The DHEERA campaign and march at the World Congress of Figo in Rio in 2018 got wide international publicity. No change is possible unless the young minds adopt it and make it a part of their life. Young minds are open and creative. They accept change. Foxy has always worked with adolescents for their health and well-being. DHEERA this year adds a new page. I'm happy to share with you all that we are launching the DHEERA online school certification course across the length and breadth of our country in all the schools. Foxy for all always. DHEERA, Stop Violence Against Women.
Ajay sir, are you here? I just saw him. Ma'am, Lakshmi ma'am, I think we can go ahead.
He was here, but I think we can start because at the end of the training, he will be briefing all the trainers about the operational issues.
Thank you, Lakshmi and Kiran.
Yeah, Ajay.
Lost you.
Hi, Sham here. Please carry on.
Yeah. We can start with Dr. Nisha's talk here.
Okay, so carry on. Please carry on. Yeah.
You are muted.
Muted.
Unmute. Huh? बशीर आप कर दो उनको अनम्यूट, डॉक्टर निशा को, टीम मीटिंग। हाँ श्रीमन, हाँ
Yeah, can you hear me now?
yes we can hear you. Make it slideshow, Nisha.
Sure.
Done. Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. So a very good afternoon to all of you. And as we start off this training of DHEERA, stopping violence against women. So let us first talk about, just get an idea what we are actually looking at. What is violence against women and how does DHEERA play into it? This is an initiative by our president, Dr. Shanta Kumari. And so the agenda here is basically we'll be talking about what is DHEERA, what is WOW. That is the first session that I'm taking. And the next, as we know, the types and the management and the peer pressure will be taken further. So DHEERA means courageous. So somebody who has the power to stand, power of being together. And so DHEERA says that you have to stand together to stop violence against women. And if you see that not all men practice violence against women, but all women live with the threat of male violence every single day all over the earth. And this is not just a saying, but practically, I'm sure all of us have witnessed this throughout our lives, that when we just look around in our families, in our neighborhoods, in the newspaper, all across, you tend to hear violence of various types being, the women are facing that in different ways. Sometimes they speak out, sometimes they don't speak out. It is a global human rights violation. It could be short-term and long-term physical, economic, and psychological consequences that it can provide. So violence against women is like a violation of the human rights completely, and it affects women in different ways. They prevent their full and equal participation in the society. And actually, the purpose is also this, to keep the women a little suppressed and then not allow them to, come out in their full-blown way. Conditions that are created by the pandemic, example including the lockdowns, reduced mobility, heightened isolation, stress, and economic uncertainty, they have also led to an alarming spike in the domestic violence. So domestic violence is one type of violence against women. There are many others. It could be at the workplace, it could be at home, it could be in the office, in the marketplace, anywhere it could be there. So are you aware or have you seen any woman being beaten, threatened, scolded at home, school, or neighborhood? So now actually when we will be putting up this program into the schools, when we'll be training the children, then they have to be made aware that things are maybe there around them and how they should understand to, recognize them and speak against them. And they have to know, so there will be some questions like you have to ask that, do you think whenever you have come across or seen, do you think this is right? What is such behavior called? Is there any word to describe? And then we are going to tell them that this is actually violence against women. So beating, threatening, scolding women is violence against women. It is one of the most shameful human rights violation, because as a human, everybody has a right to live, to act, to, have a full control on their own lives rather than others having a control or judging them or allowing or not allowing them. And despite this is violence against women is one which is most widespread. It knows no boundaries of geography, culture, or wealth. So you could see it across the different socio-economic societies and the cultural societies also. So they may be different, but this single thing would be common among the wealthy, among the poor, among the middle class. As long as it continues, there is no real progress towards equality. So it hampers your basic fundamental right, which the Constitution gives, the right to equality, is taken away when there is violence against women. Development and peace are also affected. So when we say what is exactly wow, again putting it into other terms, it is like forcing a woman to live in fear. It could be a mental, sexual, or a physical uh, fear, or effect. And if you look at this picture, sometimes it may not be obvious also. When you see the picture from outside, it may look that they are living in harmony, the couple, but actually there might be something else behind that. So everything that you see every time, it may not be very obvious. You have to have an eye to recognize it. What are the roots of this violence? Actually, our society has the roots. There are problems, things like toxic masculinity, things like gender bias, sexism, patriarchal society, gender stereotyping. These are some of the things, some of the terms that you would understand that lead to violence against women. We'll just talk about each one of them a little more. So gender bias, since beginning, since it is in the society, the boys and the girls are treated in a different way. That because there is a preference for male child, girls are considered burdens because of the the marriage, the dowry, and even the acts of feticide and infanticide. What are they? They are actually because there is a bias in the minds. And then the female health issues, which are mostly neglected, and education is given to the male child more often. So these things still are prevalent, though not to that extent as it used to be, say, in the last century, but it does exist. Then patriarchy, because everybody knows that in the society, the man will be holding the power and the women will be mostly excluded from inheriting the property or any rights, because the male person will be the head of the family always. All the decision making will be there. So because of this patriarchal society, there is this violence. So it promotes it. It is one of the root causes for this. Then that's gender stereotyping. If you see, like that, it is presumed that it's a boy, the boy will be, say, if you just read some of these words, the boy will be competitive, will be logical, will be strategic, he can be aggressive, he has to be independent. So there are certain things that are taught, certain qualities which are considered to be only for the boys, while there are others, what you see here, the faithful, emotional, tolerant, sympathetic, and dependent, that is expected out of girls. So it is because of this gender stereotyping also existing in our society that the women are exposed to violence. So although ideally, if you see, these qualities are not such that the girls cannot have. Can't a girl be competitive? Can't she be logical? She can very well be. And it is the mindset that has to change. And that is why we are trying to bring it out, that these are the reasons leading to the violence against women. Then sexism, there is prejudice and there is stereotyping. Because of this, there is a discrimination typically against the women based on the sex and the gender. Low salaries to the women in the same office, or that these are some of the examples. Maybe some more you could put into the chat box and we can have some discussion later on that. Then the toxic masculinity, as the name suggests, the men are supposed to be masculine, they are supposed to be stronger, and they are supposed to have more power. So it's not just that having the physical power or economic power, apart from that, there are certain things like they can never cry, they cannot, be submissive. They will always behave like the bosses, and they will, because they are the saviors. So because of this kind of mentality, which is, as the children are growing, it is brought up into them. They see this around them, they see their parents, they see their neighbors, it is happening, and then they learn. And that's how gradually, as they grow up into men, then they become, the reasons for the violence against women. Now here we as doctors, as gynecologists, are talking about violence against women. Why is it why is it important, or how we come into the, what is our role here. We all understand that gynecologists are points of contact who can recognize changes in the lifestyle. Whenever a woman has some health issues or some other psychological issues, she visits a doctor, and it is mostly the gynecologist or any other doctor. So they become the first point of contact, and they tend to open them out also in front of them. Most of the health problems of the women are rooted in the violence. They will come and tell you they have pain, they have, this thing. But if you talk to them, then maybe it will come out that why did it happen? Because you will be able to differentiate whether it is something which is related to a disease or it is related to some kind of violence. Sometimes serious health problems during pregnancies have the roots in violence, and we all know about that domestic violence, which is quite prevalent during pregnancy also. A new girl gets married, gets pregnant, and then during pregnancy itself, lot of expectations from her, and then the main expectation having the male child only. So these are the things that lead to violence, and then you are the one who comes in contact with her. So if you have that eye to recognize this and then work on it, you will be able to do something. And that's the reason that as gynecologists, we are training ourselves, and also we are trying to later on teach and train our school teachers and children so that they become aware about it. So this campaign DHEERA was started by our president, Dr. Shanta Kumari, to stop violence against women. And this is a online module that has been created. And we have seen in the video also that was shown how over the years from 2013, in small bits, efforts are being done. And finally, it has taken the shape of teaching our young minds. So All India initiative to sensitize, orient, train the 36,000 plus obstetricians and gynecologists and 500,000 plus boys and girls 9 to 12. So this is a training for 9th to 12th standard, boys and girls both, which will, the numbers would be more than 5 lakhs, and among the students and even the teachers of those schools will be trained through this, through all of you who are getting this training today. These are some of the pictures of the previous campaigns done. So Courageous Together, say no to violence against women. And this caption again, that registration, pre-test and post-test and the feedback are important to get your certificate. So please continue throughout the sessions, and at the end, do the post-test and the feedback. Thank you so much.
Very well presented, Dr. Nisha. So now she has told you what is wow, and I am taking the types of wow. So Nisha, yeah, I will be sharing my screen. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Lakshmi.
Yeah. There it is. Can you all see my PPT? Slides are visible, Nisha?
Yeah,
no, not yet open.
To click it, yeah, we can see the slides.
It's the slideshow, and I am audible here.
No, it's not the slideshow as yet.
Ma'am, only you're audible. We cannot see the slides.
Just a second. Just a second. Because without slides, there won't be any new types of.
We could see your box with the different presentations, but it didn't open.
I think you have to open your PPT, Dr. Lakshmi.
Yeah, it's open.
Open.
Otherwise, let Shriman share it, madam.
No. I will. New types of wow. No, I will. Just a second, because it is a bit long presentation and he will not be able to do that. Now, is it visible?
Yeah, it's come now.
Yes, ma'am.
Slides are visible. Now,
Yes.
is it slideshow now?
No. Yeah,
Yes,
now.
ma'am.
Yes.
Should I go ahead?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I am discussing the types of vow, and the main contents in this presentation is about physical violence, psychological violence, and the combination of violence. So when we talk about physical violence, we know that there are many forms of physical violence and we can't cover all the forms. But just to name few important forms of physical violence are acid attacks, honor killings, femicide, and sexual violence. The examples of psychological violence are financial manipulation, emotional abuse, bullying, eve teasing, and criminal intimidation. And combination, the best example of this is domestic violence. So friends, when you are taking classes for the students and teachers, they have already completed the registration and pre-test, and that is why they are there in the session before you. Tell them that after the training program, they have to complete the post-test and they have to fill the feedback form to earn their certificate. Because if they don't complete all the 4 steps, they will not be getting the certificates. So now coming to the details of physical violence, the first is acid attack. What it is? It is a form of assault involving throwing a corrosive substance onto another person. It is sometimes used as a form of blackmail or as a form of threat also. The case study here you can quote to the students is of Miss Lakshmi Agrawal. She was attacked in 2005 at the tender age of 15 when she rejected the romantic advances of a man who was 32 years old. For more details, you can advise your students to watch the movie Chapak to know more details about her life story. Now, what you can do means the students can do if they face such kind of threat. If an attack is threatened or attempted, they have to report it to trusted adult and police. Make sure to stay away from the person who is threatening. Always travel with others. We always advise all the adolescents to not to travel all alone, especially in deserted places which are very सुनसान जो जगह होती है, वहां पे अकेले ना जाएं. Under section 326B IPC, imprisonment not less than 5 years and it may extend to 7 years is there for the perpetrator. If you are attacked, you have to report this attack to a doctor and make sure that you get treatment as soon as possible. Talk to friends, teachers, police, or anyone you can trust. Make sure that you stay away from the perpetrator of the crime. Report this attack to the authorities. Section 326A IPC can be charged to this perpetrator, and under this act, the person is liable for imprisonment not less than 10 years, and this may extend to imprisonment for life. And they also have to pay all the medical expenses which has been incurred by the victim. So this is all you can tell your students about the actions they can take. Now coming to the honor killing, what it is. Even in 21st century, we do read news about honor killings. This is murder of an individual, either an outsider or a member of the family. And this is honor killing is used to protect the reputation of the family, as it is believed that the victim brought disrepute to the family. You can interact in the language of the student. अगर हिंदी स्पीकिंग इंग्लिश है तो आप हिंदी स्पीकिंग क्राउड है तो आप बोल सकते हैं कि ये जो प्रथा है ये सभी को पता है कि राजस्थान और हरियाणा में बहुत ज्यादा प्रचलित है. अगर लड़का लड़की समाज के बाहर या जाति के बाहर शादी करते हैं तो वहां पे ऑनर किलिंग रैम्पंट है कि भाई लड़की ने नाक कटा दिया तो वो जाकर उनको पनिश करते हैं. दे मर्डर ईदर द गर्ल और द बॉय और समटाइम्स बोथ. Now coming to femicide. what it is. It is a gender-based crime. It arises when society prefers males over females. And this femicide can take the forms of woman-based hate crime. We all know infanticide. Again, we know it is rampant in Rajasthan, where they kill a girl child after she is born. Feticide, we all are aware. So you can give some examples. What is feticide? What is infanticide? According to the mood of your students, and tell them and brief them about femicide. Now coming to sexual assault. What it is? It is an act in which a man sexually touches a woman or compels her to get naked forcefully and without her consent. This sexual assault is punishable under Section 354 IPC with 1 to 5 years of imprisonment and a fine. This assault causes long-term mental trauma for the victim. If you see sexual assault taking place, be proactive, try to stop it, or call for help, even if you see that your friend is the abuser. Nirbhaya Act 2013 and Section 375 IPC protects women against any type of rape. And friends, rape does not mean only penetration. The definition of rape in the legal frame has been widened. It covers many other aspects. So you also go through the definition and encourage your students also to go through the definition of rape. Section 354A IPC protects against sexual harassment and unwanted physical contact. POSCO Act, you all should be very well aware of it. It protects minors from sexual abuse. So this was all about sexual abuse, sexual assault. Encourage your students to identify and to act if they are facing some kind of sexual assault. Both boys and girls can be a victim of sexual assault. It is need not be necessarily a girl who can be a victim of sexual assault. If you are a survivor, do not shame yourself because you are not to be blamed for this sexual assault. Don't take a bath or wash yourself. Don't change your clothes. Write down what happened. Inform the police. Report in a timely manner so that there is evidence, and don't be afraid to speak up as you are never at fault and an abuser is bound to repeat actions. बहुत बार जैसे ही कोई क्राइम होता है, out of shame or out of some guilt, the victim tries to wash his, takes a bath, and this in turn destroys all kind of evidence. So if there is a sexual assault, there has to be evidence. So you have to teach the students that they should not destroy the evidence, preserve it, report to the police, and try to take appropriate action. If not for you, take the action, report to the police to protect other adolescents and other teenagers, as the last sentence is telling you that abuser ने आपको abuse करके वो रुकेगा नहीं. This is in his or her nature, and he is going to do more kinds of sexual assault. So it's a kind of our moral and social duty also to report the cases of sexual assault to the appropriate authorities. Now this was all about the physical violence. Now let us come to the psychological violence. First and foremost, financial manipulation is rampant all over the world. This involves making or attempting to make a person financially dependent by making total control over resources, withholding access to money, and or forbidding attendance at school or employment. This case study has been given for the students so that you can make it an interactive session and you can involve them. The case mentioned here is Raj monitors his wife Ananya's bank account and doesn't let her buy what she wants. Raj parents don't let Ananya go to work. So what can Ananya do? I encourage each one of you to put your response in the chat box on what Ananya can do. Now coming to the emotional abuse, because a violence need not be a physical, most of the times it is emotional abuse. What is it? It is undermining a person's sense of self-worth through constant criticism. The more common examples are name calling, तुम तो ऐसे ही हो, काम बराबर नहीं करते हो. Damaging a partner's relationship with the children. बहुत बार ये शादी में होता है, पति या पत्नी जो भी है बच्चों के सामने एक दूसरे की रेपुटेशन कम करने में लगे होते हैं. Not letting partner see friends or family. मैके नहीं जाना, ये दोस्त से बात नहीं करना, ये रिश्तेदारों से बात नहीं करना. So these are some common examples of emotional abuse in day-to-day life. Here again, one case study is given. Shreya is married to Ashok, whose colleagues mock him for earning less. Feeling hurt over his pride, Ashok takes out his frustration by drinking more often, frequent rage behaviors, tantrums by breaking things, yelling, and blackmailing Shreya of divorcing her. This constant fault-finding behavior of Ashok had a toll on mental health of Shreya. So what can Shreya do? Again, I encourage all of you to type your response in the chat box, what Shreya should do in this situation. Bullying is another type of emotional abuse, psychological abuse. And what is bullying? It is continuous harassment, either physical or verbal. And nowadays, it can be in the form of cyberbullying as well. So make students understand, here one case study is given. Neil, a senior, asks out Ria, his junior, who rejects him. He feels embarrassed and to bandage his pride, starts up a rumor that Ria is a slut. He starts to harass her every day, calling her fat, ugly, and other such derogatory terms. He throws eggs at her house with his friends and pours water on her homework and provokes all his friends into teasing her whenever they see her. So you see this taking place. What should you do? Do you help Ria? Who do you contact? So again, I encourage you also to respond in the chat box. And when you are taking it for your students, encourage them to respond and rewrite their opinion in the chat box. Cyberbullying is online form of bullying and abuse. When technology is used to write aggressive, embarrassing, or hateful messages to or about peers in order to intimidate, harass, shame, and control. And the types of cyberbullying includes threatening, abusing text messages, creation of embarrassing images or videos, sharing them, creating fake accounts, stealing online identities, sharing sexually explicit messages. And did you know? Females are twice more likely to be victims of cyberbullying. So cyberbullying, I would like to give you some examples of cyberbullying. It can be in the form of exclusion. That is an act of deliberately excluding someone from an online group so that person feels ignored or rejected. It can be in the form of gossip by damaging a person's reputation and or relationship with his family or friends. It can be frapping, that is impersonating a person by logging into someone else's social networking account. It can be in the form of harassment, that is constant and intentional posting or sending offensive, threatening messages. Cyberbullying can be in the form of outing and trickery, that is an act of tricking someone into revealing personal information which is then shared publicly to humiliate him or her. It can be in the form of cyber stalking, that is harassing online by posting or sending unwanted or intimidating messages, including real threats on the safety. And it can be in the form of fake profiles, whereby the perpetrator creates fake profiles to hide their real identity. So cyberbullying is a very big issue in this 21st century. So educate your students about the different forms of cyberbullying and what can you do if you are being cyberbullied. First and foremost, wherever you are using any platform, any app, check the privacy policy of that app or that platform. If you are not sure, if you have some doubt, please contact the customer service before accepting their privacy policy. The second step is blocking and reporting that site. But before you do so, make sure to take the screenshots, because if you want to report, rather you should report to cybercrime, you should have evidence in the form of screenshots. File a criminal complaint. In every city, now we have a cybercrime cell where you can file online complaints. You need not go physically there to give your complaint. If you are unable to report to cyber cell, you can lodge FIR in the police station. Nowadays, we have she teams in police station. So girls, you can approach these she teams without any hesitation. They counsel and they help you, going out of way to help the students. So don't just let it go. Speak up and take suitable action if you are subjected to cyberbullying. Now coming to stalking. When an individual follows a woman and repeatedly tries to contact her without consent. ये हर लड़की ने कभी ना कभी अपनी जिंदगी में महसूस किया है, जब भी वह स्कूल जा रही है, कॉलेज जा रही है, कोई ना कोई उसका पीछा करता है, कमेंट्स पास करता है, पर ये फिजिकली ही होगा ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है. Stalking can be digitally also in this 21st century. Section 354D IPC imprisons the culprit for 1 to 3 years and culprit is also liable for fine. So this is a case study for the students. Sanjay, 17, starts to follow around Meera, 17, everywhere she goes, learning her everyday routine, taking pictures of her, joining her tuitions, etc. His friend starts to encourage him, comparing him to popular roles that actors have played in Bollywood movies. क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ इसको rewarding behavior माना जाता है कि अगर लड़का लड़की को तंग कर रहा है तो ये हीरो है. So Meera starts to feel uncomfortable. What she can do next? So write your response in the chat box and encourage your students also to respond to this query in the chat box. Now, what is voyeurism? It is watching and taking pictures of woman without her consent and without the knowledge of the woman. है ना, आप बीच पे हो, आप कहीं पब्लिक प्लेस में हो, कई बार लड़कियों के नॉलेज के बिना ही उनका पिक्चर ले लिया जाता है और उसका मिसयूज किया जाता है. Section 354C IPC imprisons the culprit for 1 to 3 years on first conviction, and after more conviction, the abuser can be imprisoned for 3 to 7 years. So हमें स्टूडेंट्स को एजुकेट करना है, लड़कियों को बताना है कि जब भी वो पब्लिक प्लेस में हैं, they have to be very careful कि कोई उनका without their knowledge and consent should not click the picture of her. Now coming to the eve teasing, ये भी बहुत rampant है. हम सभी ने अपनी लाइफ में ये कभी ना कभी फेस किया है. What is eve teasing? Obscene actions like unwanted remarks, sexual advances by a man to insult a woman in a public place is eve teasing. Section 294 IPC punishes man who acts or speak in an obscene way for a maximum of 3 months. Section 509 IPC punishes man who acts or uses an object to insult a woman with term for up to 3 years. So students को educate करें कि eve teasing क्या है और इसके क्या-क्या forms हैं. Now coming to criminal intimidation. When someone is threatening to cause death, hurt grievously, or to destroy your property. This is labeled as criminal intimidation. Section 503 IPC can give punishment up to 2 years of imprisonment to the perpetrator, combined with a fine or both. Now, let us see what is sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is unwelcome sexual advances, request for sexual favors, sexual remarks, showing pornography without consent. All these constitutes as sexual harassment. It can be reported under Section 354A IPC, which is punishable up to 3 years of imprisonment. So here is a case study to make your students understand what is sexual harassment and what they can do. Unseasonal rain has caused a farmer to lose a considerable amount of crop that he was unable to sell. To make ends meet, he takes a loan from the village loan shark Raghu. After a few months, unable to pay his loan back, his daughter offers to help settle her father's debt by working for this loan shark. Taking advantage of their desperation, Raghu sexually harasses the girl. If you saw this happening, what could you do? So please type your response in the chat box. What are the options for this girl and what she should do? Now, the combination of physical and psychological is domestic violence, and this domestic violence doesn't need to happen between a married couple only. It is any pattern of behavior used to gain or maintain power or control over the other person. Here, in domestic violence, the main issues are that most victims of domestic violence, they do not know that they are getting abused. It is hard to believe that a trusted partner could be so manipulative. And this domestic violence also includes the harassment from in-laws also. So the examples of domestic violence are using intimidation, emotional abuse, minimizing, denying, blaming, using children to play against each other, using your male privileges, using economic abuse, using coercion and threats. These are all different types of the domestic violence. And remember कि domestic violence सिर्फ एक बार हुआ यानी नहीं होगा ऐसा नहीं है. It is always in the cycles, and this cycles keeps on continuing and continuing and continuing. To teach your students what do you mean by this cycle of abuse. First, there is a remorse. After abusing, the person is feeling guilty. He is trying to give excuses, blame self, सब कुछ होने लगता है. The next step is honeymoon period. चल सब भूल जाए, नई जिंदगी शुरू करते हैं, आगे बढ़ते हैं. So both feel happy, the abuser and the victim. But once any tension comes back in their life, if the perpetrator again feels anxious, again there is an explosion and there is domestic violence. And this keeps on repeating and it keeps going on. The Domestic Violence Act 2005 covers physical, sexual, verbal, and economic abuse. It grants immediate protection and it punishes the abuser with imprisonment up to 3 years. So we have to end violence against women one step at a time. Again, when you come on this slide, reinforce that they have to complete the post-test and they have to fill the feedback form to earn their certificate. Encourage them to join in this DHEERA movement because our target is more than 1 lakh tweets. So tell them to add their courageous voice to the conversation. So friends, thank you. This was the presentation on types of vow. And I would like to take how to manage vow and so that after that third talk, we can have the discussion. Meantime, you can keep posting in the chat box. Can you all see my slides? Hello?
Yeah, yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
And I am audible. So
Yes,
I'm taking the presentation on management of wow. This is in three components.
One small request. There has
Yeah.
been a request that instead of Hindi, let it be English, because I think we have across India today.
Yeah. I know. I was just giving them example that if
Yes,
the
yes.
students are Hindi speaking or Tamil speaking, they have to
Yes, they can go
add
to
that flavor of the local language. I mean, that is the whole intention. Yeah. And as Dr. Kiran Mai has already said, the management of WOW has got three components. That is the introduction, which I am doing. Then the next presentation will be on the role of bystanders and the bridging gender divide. So these are the components under the management of WOW. So when you come on this slide, again, you have to go on hammering to the students or teachers that these 4 steps are compulsory to get a certificate. So the factors which contributes to WOW are superiority complex, stress, anger issues, lack of compassion, troubled childhood, drugs, gender bias, and social discrimination are the root cause of violence against women. It is in the mindset, and this wow is nurtured since childhood based on the way a child is brought up. In every household, you must have seen the boys are brought up in a different way and the girls are brought up in a different way. So what to do if you know that someone is being abused? First and foremost, don't be afraid. Listen to the victim's story. Reassure them to stay brave. Believe in their story. Do not blame the victim. Keep an eye on the situation to make sure it is not getting too dangerous for him or her to handle. Ask the victim about their immediate plans. Report to a higher authority, and that higher authority can be a teacher or a parent or can be a police. Respect the decision of the victim. Have resources to keep conversation going on, and be careful that any actions taken by you do not harm you or the victim. What to do if you are being abused? Recognize the toxic behavior of the cycle of abuse. Protect yourself by leaving from the immediate vicinity of the abuser. Avoid escalating situations. Report the incident. Keep evidence of the abuse by recording and photographing. Plan a safety kit in case you have to leave your home in a hurry, and let someone you trust know of this abuse, because unless and until you will speak up, nobody will know that you are being abused. And this trustworthy person can be either your friend, neighbor, your doctor, your police officer, but please speak up and trust someone and tell them about the abuse you are going through. Speak out. Don't let the abuser rob you of your voice. Claiming your voice back is difficult, yes, because you are nervous, you are feeling sad, you are feeling scared, but you have to speak up. Believe me, your words have power. Speaking up is the first step to end wow. Take a stand because your abuser is afraid of your voice. And here you can give some example, because if a girl is silent and if she does not speak up, the perpetrator takes it as a consent, and then more and more abuse keeps following. So she has to nip it in the bud. She has to tell that person firmly that I did not like it. Please don't repeat it. So the crux is that she has to speak out to a trustworthy person, and she has to protest and speak out in front of abuser as well. Don't let down another generation of victims. Give the victim a platform to speak. Believe the victim. Don't blame the victim. Why you did this, why you wore the short clothes, why you were late at night. So don't blame the victim. Stand up for justice. Don't let people forget that once someone commits abuse, they are prone to doing it again and again. So these are the some safety apps. Tell them to download these and familiarize themselves with these safety apps in the form of Smart Shower Woman Safety Shield Protection, With You, Scream Alarm, Suspects Registry, Be Safe. Abhaya, the app is also there for legal advice. And whenever you are going alone or you are traveling in a taxi or in some different location, make your live location on, because I travel a lot. Whenever I am traveling and hiring a cab, I always tell the driver to look at me. I take a picture of the driver, I take a picture of that nameplate, and I post it to my husband. But here they can post it to their friend or a family member. This itself creates a deterrent for that taxi driver to even think of committing some crime, because he knows that the live location is on and your photo and taxi number has already been shared. Teach them this distress sign. Get it done from them. This distress sign, they have to just open the form, take thumb inside and
face your palm to the camera or to the person you're seeking help from. Tuck your thumb. Trap the thumb with the remaining fingers.
So tell and educate the students that when they are in distress, they have to use this distress signal, but at the same time, educate the teachers also that once they see this distress sign, they have to come for the help of that student. So if anyone sees this distress signal, either we as a doctor or whenever we are in the crowd or the teachers, if you see this signal, check in with the person safely to find out what they need and what you can do at that particular moment. If you find a threat of danger, call the local police and the helplines numbers which are mentioned in this slide. You all will be getting the presentations, but when you are on this slide, tell the students and teachers to take a screenshot so that they have these helpline numbers with them. Tell them to take a screenshot of this slide also. Here also various helpline numbers are mentioned, but for them to remember is two very important helpline numbers, that is 100 for police and 1098, which is a childline helpline number. So tell them to remember these two numbers and keep screenshot of these two slides with them. Now, whenever there is any problem with them, what is the reporting process? They have to report the incident to the local police or special police unit. They have to record the statement for police within 24 hours. They have to go to hospital or shelter home for medical examination by female doctor, record statement in front of magistrate, and the special court have to complete the trial within 1 year. So this is all you have to educate the students and teachers about the immediate steps they have to take when they are faced with war. So let us keep them safe. Let us educate them so that they can take care of themselves. Again, tell your students that these 4 steps are essential for them to get a certificate. Encourage them to join this DHEERA project, as our target is 1 lakh plus tweets. So they have to add their courageous voice to our conversation of DHEERA. So here I have finished my 2 presentations, and now the time is for audience interactions. So please, you all can unmute yourself and we can have audience interaction.
Lakshmi ma'am, can I ask something? Charu Modi.
Yes, Charu. Charu. go ahead.
Yes, Kiran ma'am, there was one slide, two slides in fact, which showed various numbers, helpline numbers. And in one slide, I could see helpline numbers of Delhi.
Yeah.
So can we have zone-wise helpline numbers also? Or
Or
particular?
Yes, yes, Charu. Actually, that was only meant as an example.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
the common helplines were there, 181 and other numbers which are put up.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
zone wise to add in the slide, yes, we'll take a call, I think. Or what do you say, Ajay sir?
Just to let you all know, there is that much that we could do in terms of gathering all the numbers. So I will really appreciate from your zonal or your state, you have any specific numbers, share it with the students and teachers when you carry out the session. Verbally, you can share it and share it with us also. Okay, so what we will do is for all members and master trainers of your state, we will make sure these numbers are sent out to them as well so that they can narrate them. And at some point in the future, we will try to incorporate them into the slides itself. Because, you know, the moment you start incorporating state-wise, you will have 5 more slides only of the state numbers. And we would like to limit that at this point in time.
Yes, ma'am. There was.
Apani, it's so nice to see you. How come you're attending the session again?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think there's only one Padmini.
Yes, yes, to recollect so that I can do
Refresh.
it better. Yeah, refresh.
Okay, okay, okay.
So in between.
Thank
We
you.
have Vanita Sahayavani numbers in Karnataka, Vanita Sahayavani. So attached to police station, police helpline, commissioner's office. So they're all there, counselors are there and the Sahayavanis and even short stay homes, all that facilities is there. They only will guide. We can give
please,
that.
Please go ahead and share this during your first. I'm still waiting for you to start your first school session.
And I told you, that is one thing which I was discussing.
Every master trainer who's here, thank you very much for being here. Incidentally, I just need to let you know, and I'm putting Padmini on the spot. Padmini in Karnataka and Bangalore alone has given us 750 schools. Yeah. And we still have to start the session. So that's why I'm putting you on the spot.
No, that's why I was just discussing with you about the, not that they're all very much enthusiastic, but the in between that COVID vaccination of children started, and so they took away all the teachers.
No worries. We will take it out. We will take it out separately. Let's focus on the questions and answers.
So definitely we will start and finish all those schools.
Yeah. Any other?
I had a question.
I have a question.
Yeah, 1 minute. We have Bharati. Good to see you finally joined in after so many emails.
No, I was there from the beginning, Mr. Ajay.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, tell me.
Well, anyway, I'm very proud to be part of this movement, and definitely will take this to all the schools in our region. But I have a query here. Will the PPTs, can we translate them into the local language to go to the government schools? Where can we translate them, or will it be provided to us from the
currently the PPTs are to be used as is, which is what we have in my operational plan. We will talk about it, and you have the opportunity to translate them into your local language while you're speaking to them. And transliterating them, as you have seen Lakshmi do it, as you have seen Nisha do it today, is what, and you know, that's how you will have to do it. Having said that, where are you from, Bharti? Yeah, are you Manipal, right?
I'm from Karnataka, Hassan.
Hassan, okay. So what you can do is, if you would like to volunteer and translate them word to word, please do that exercise.
We can do that for you.
Please do that exercise in the background. Share the slides with us. And the slides will then have to be vetted by the national core team. Once the national core team vets it, then the funder and the donor has to vet it. Once all that process, which is a lengthy process, once that is done, we may authorize going forward. But at this point in time, we are just sticking to what we have, because that is all approved word to word, slide to slide, to the number of slides at this point in time. Yeah, so hold on,
Yes, sir.
and you can do it and send it to us. And Kiran Mai is
Yes,
here,
sure.
he will help us, and we will then take the process forward.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
will translate it and send it back to you.
Yeah. And yeah, Poonam, you had a question.
Yes, I had a question that, we often see women who have, means you can see an obvious sign of having a physical abuse, but it is always the women who do not want to take any action. The most recent patient who had, she said that my daughter will never get married if I go to police. So despite me saying so many times, she never took any action. So I'm just wondering, in this forum where everybody is present who is interested in this very relevant topic. So what should be our role there?
Anybody would like to go first?
Poonam ma'am, very valid point. Priyanka, mute. Mute, Priyanka. Actually, that part of the module, what you're telling is for us as OB-GYNs, how to tackle it, madam. So the next part of DHEERA is a module for OB-GYNs, which is taking shape, and exactly these issues are being addressed. Not just like that, UNICEF GBV survivor-centered approach. And what are our jobs, what are not to be done from us, what is not expected from us, and what is expected from us. Most of the times we feel guilty that we are not able to help the woman and that the woman is not ready to take any action. But all these issues will be covered in the OB-GYN module. This is for the school children to sensitize them that there exists violence, that there are root causes for violence, and there is something that we can do about it. What is it that we are going to do about it, so that they are, in the future they become the adults. That is the whole meaning of this exercise for the students. And your issue.
That's good, because there is a, like every bias, there is a bias that a woman who raises her voice, she's a bad woman. She's not a very good woman. So I think that stereotype has also needs to be broken.
The issue is so deep rooted that we may not be able to correct it with our own this thing.
Yeah, I know, but we need to start, the education part of it.
So as OB-GYNs, what are we supposed to do? What all we can do? That module will definitely deal with all these issues, even rehabilitation and support also.
Yeah, Nisha, you had
something.
Thank you,
Kiran. Thank
you. I just wanted to share something here, because the statement that the technical and whatever the modules will come is different. I just wanted to share something. There was someone in my family, and the statement you said that my daughter will not get married. In contrast, that person said something which I felt so proud of her. She said, if I don't take a stand, later my children are not going to, accept this, and they will think about me, why I didn't take a stand. So
exactly, Nisha ma'am, both your points are valid. Actually, the stand taken by what example Dr. Nisha has given, we feel it is correct. But again, our role is not each one's situation.
Not talking about my role, and I was just sharing that sometimes it's both types.
Both types. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. We have to respect the decision of.
Yes. We have to respect the decision of the victim. Yes.
Ma'am, Kiran, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hi, ma'am. This is Dr. Padma. Ma'am, I have a question, because you said like it's take long time to translate in the local languages, right? In the previous discussion.
Can we see you? Is your video on?
Yeah, ma'am. 1 second, ma'am.
Padma from Poduturu.
Yeah, ma'am.
Kadapa team, right?
Yeah, ma'am. See, most of the time in the rural areas, if you go, they know only local language. Okay, so in the government school, especially, they know only Telugu in Andhra. If you show some slide in English, and if you're talking in Telugu, they can't understand and they don't concentrate on the
Padma, Padma, we are been doing in Telugu schools, KGBV schools, government schools. I think almost 30 schools we have finished in Tenali, Vijayawada and Khammam. They have taken it quite well. The students, there are a lot of images in our slides. And we are explaining in Telugu. It is definitely making an impact. But because we have to go it in a systematic way, And
But
this
the
is all-
questionnaire also in English only, no, ma'am? Like we have to give the questionnaire. How they'll understand?
The pre-test is okay, but the post-test, if the teachers and facilitators are there, they can translate and help them out.
Okay.
Definitely that can be done.
Okay.
And whatever we can, I mean, if we leave them even with 50-60% of the messages are gone. But definitely, as Ajay sir said, and we'll go ahead with the translation part, but that will take its own time and process.
If you people think how many days it will take for you people, madam, we people are like
I leave it to
so
Ajay.
much.
Let me just step in here. Let me just step in here.
Sir.
Each one of us on this call.
Ajay, this program is already a grand success. See the passion, dedication, and determination of all the master trainers. Everyone is so eager to contribute. I'm so happy.
And just to let each one of us know here, each one of you on this call is working 48 hours in 24 hours.
Yes, sir.
So there is a limit to how much one can stretch a human being.
Yeah.
So let's leave it at that and we'll try our best.
Yeah, the need is very well appreciated of the local language. Sir, actually today we have some really dynamic leaders from different states. We have Priyankur who got 5 more trainers from Siliguri and lot of other people, everyone, all of us who are free. We'll go ahead, sir.
Yeah, yes.
Ma'am, can I say something, ma'am?
Yes.
Ma'am, I think Ajay sir has well noted that point. That was a POXO Act, and maybe some spelling correction needs to be there.
POXO Act, yeah.
It's already done. It's Charu, it's already done.
Oh, thank you so much, sir.
If we take the slide just now back to the same slides, you will see it's already done.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
We are super fast.
That shows how attentive the audience is.
Yes.
That shows how attentive the audience is.
Very happy. So the next 3 discussions or the presentations are, one is the role of active bystanders, then the gender, bridging the gender divide and the peer pressure. As you can definitely appreciate, these 3 topics are also very, very important to the students, because these 3 things will change their attitudes, help them become better individuals, and in that process we are helping out the new generation, or you are transforming this generation. So what is the role of active bystanders? So again, reiterate on the post-test, because already they would have registered and pre-test would have been done. So reiterate on the post-test and also on the feedback, and also tell them about this wonderful certificate that they are going to receive on behalf of Foxy and Foxy and UNICEF, and they would be encouraged to complete the post-test. Then now, who is a bystander? In the examples that Dr. Lakshmi Madam was telling about various case scenarios, inadvertently many of you have put that what you would do in such a situation, what you would do to help out Riya or to help out Ananya, all those things. So all of that, what you have written is the bystander activity, or the role of an active bystander. So when you children, like what do you think? Are the perpetrators of the violence are more, or are the victims or survivors of the violence more? So naturally, we know that the perpetrators are less, and the people who are seeing the incident or the harassment or the violence, they outnumber the perpetrators. And these are all the individuals who observes this act of violence, discrimination, and any other problematic behavior. It need not be a great or a very violent act. It could be any discrimination. It could be any harassment, teasing, or whatever be the problematic behavior. The one who observes it, but they are not the direct perpetrators. They are called bystanders. And again, there are 2 types of bystanders. One is active bystanders. Active bystanders are people who stop, who take action, some kind of action to stop the action, to stop the violent action. Then the other one is the passive bystanders. This world is full of passive bystanders. Most of the times we do not intervene because of various reasons. One is social influence, we are inhibited, and audience inhibition. Then we fear retaliation, because in such violent actions, or if something happens, you may have to go for it. go to a police station, or I am quite busy, why should I fall into this nuisance, or someone may come, or the people who are doing this violent act may be very powerful, they may come after me. These are all the thoughts that we all have as bystanders. So there are two types, one is active and one is passive. So what do you think, we should be active bystanders or passive bystanders? You must have understood by now that we should step into active bystanders role. So how to go about it? And most of the times we do not act because we do not know what to do and how to do. There are 5 weapons to be active bystanders, which are: one is to distract. It is a subtle and safe way to intervene. This is not going to harm us or the survivor. The aim is to interrupt and derail the incident so that the survivor gains some time to escape, or you find some more time to report or attract the attention of others. For example, you can throw your phone or wallet down, and you can act as if you are picking it up, and you can make a small scene out of it. Or you can act giddy or as if you are not well and you need help. You can pretend to be lost, or you can ask for time or address of a place. For example, you are witnessing as a person who is stalking a girl, and you can go up and ask the person, can you tell me the address to this place? By the time you distract this person, the survivor or the girl who is suffering because of this act can escape. And you can pretend that you know the girl who is being harassed. You can just call with whatever name and talk something irrelevant and take the attention of the harasser. This is the first weapon, that is distract. And the second is delay. Again, you can try to do something which can reduce the severity, and you can ask the victim, are you okay? I'm going that way. Do you want me to accompany you? Or you can just sit there. Suppose something is happening at a bus stop, you can sit in the bus stop for some time as a help, and you just can wait and delay, and that person may go away, or he may feel that someone is observing me, better I don't indulge in this act. This is the second technique, that is delay. Third is delegate. If you think you cannot do alone, or if you are finding someone who is around, elders, shopkeeper, a bus conductor, or your own teacher, or your own parents, or someone who is elder, or who is around, then you can ask for assistance. You can tell what is happening. So you can always enlist the support of others, or delegate this responsibility of helping the survivor to others. This action is called, this D is called delegate. Then the fourth D is document. Again, in the examples which were given during the types of war and management of war, one of you has put up that we have to document and all the offenses and report to the police. That is what is called as documentation. So when do we do this documentation? We have to first assess the situation, then we have to see if there is anyone who is helping the person who is being harassed. Suppose there is someone who is trying to help out, then you can try and document. What is this documentation? You have to assess your own safety. Then you can take out your phone. Maybe you can click some pictures. You can shoot a small video about what is happening. Then what are you going to do? You do this only when you are safe, and also when there is some help around which is being offered to the girl. Then after you do this, you are not going to share this with your friends or with your your classmates, or you don't put up this on your Facebook or WhatsApp just out of curiosity, or just to show that you have done this. So always never share this with any person, and ask the person who was harassed what they want to do with this recording. The consent and the permission of the person who is being harassed is very important. You are not going to share this anywhere. This is very, very important message. What happens if you use this image or video of the person who is being victimized without that person's permission? It may make the person more depressed, and the person may not want to this level of visibility. She may not want this publicity. So this becomes another traumatic experience, which is no way to be an effective bystander. See what is happening here. already she's harassed and already she has faced a certain kind of incident which she doesn't want to share. She's yet to come out of it, and if we put it out on social media, she feels everyone is pointing fingers at her and laughing at her, and that itself becomes another traumatic experience. So when you document, you assess your safety, see that someone is helping already the girl or the woman or anyone who is being victimized, then you document and you keep it safe, and you have to share it with the person or with the agencies of law or police when it is required. Then what is the fourth D? Fifth D. The fifth D is direct action. Again, direct action is what we see in films, the heroes directly jumping and beating up the villains and to rescue the heroine and fighting and everything. But this direct action is risky. It may escalate the situation, become harmful to both the person who is facing it and also to yourself. So this, you respond to such direct harassment by clearly naming what is happening and confronting the harasser. One example could be the example of Ria and Neil in the previous presentation, where you see you happen to know Neil, you are both classmates, and but he's doing this, throwing eggs and calling her all the names as that she's ugly, she has no shame, and all these abuses which he's indulging in. Here, if you know the Neil, or if you are common friends, then you can directly say that this is not done. This is what you are doing is wrong. You have to stop this. But here you have to assess the safety, but be clear, confident, but also be cautious. So these are the 5 active bystander roles and actions which you have to remember and employ whenever it is necessary. And one golden rule is to please intervene only if it is safe for you to do so. And if not safe, call the helpline numbers or the police or the child helpline number, which someone told me it is easy to remember, like 1098. It is instead of 1098, it is 1098, easy to remember. Dial these numbers and enlist the support.
ಇಯರ್ಫೋನ್ ಕೂಡ ಇದೇನೋ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕು.
So what are the more ways to be involved? Because as already you are into this program, attending the DHEERA training as students and children, and as learning so many things, you are already taking some action towards being more gender conscious and being this itself is a big thing that to be appreciated. So you are learning how to be a bystander. So you can spread this knowledge. You can write a skit, make a poster, and get involved in various other ways. And always remember the wrong things to say. This happens so much. We all do. We think we are doing it out of concern or out of concern for the survivor, but it goes in a very, very wrong way. Because whenever a certain violent incident happens, we have to point our fingers at the perpetrator, at the person who is doing it, not the victim. This is called as victim blaming. It should never be done and never be done. Like, for example, we ask, why has to go at night? Why did she have to go at night? Why did she take her scooter? Why did she go alone? Why did she call someone? She could have called 100. So people say 100 things even after very bad things which have happened. Instead of that, we always have to listen, believe, and support the victim. So never say the wrong things. Always remember not to victim blame. And with this, this presentation on active bystanders comes to an end. Remember to complete the post-test and also the feedback. So I'll go to the next presentation, that is bridging the gender divide. So dear friends, in this presentation, already we know that the whole roots of violence against women lie in the gender discrimination, patriarchy, and toxic masculinity. So here we try to find out how to bridge this gender divide which exists between the two genders. Again, reinforce and reiterate about post-test and also to complete the feedback so that they will receive a certificate. So, gender, what is gender? Gender is nothing but a socially constructed concept. As soon as we are born, the moment we become conscious, we are already aware about our gender by various things. We are made to understand that you are a male, you are a female, you are named in a such a way, you are named, you are made to wear certain clothes, you are bought only certain types of toys, you are told to behave only in certain types of manner, you are pointed out if you behave in an opposite way, why are you behaving like a girl, or you say to the girl that why do you behave like boys. So this is all nothing but a generally social society which constructs these concepts and builds it on, and every one of us, it is deeply ingrained in us, it is difficult to escape, but we will understand why it is important to to get rid of this stereotyping, because that is the basis for the violence against women. So when you look at, we have seen this movie Pushpa. So once you hear the name Pushpa, before you know, it registers as a female name. Or for example, in South Indian states, we have this at the end, we say Nirmala. Whereas when we hear Nirmal, it is like it's a boy. So right from the names, then to the traits. Again, I'll reiterate, a girl is not supposed to be, loud. A girl is not expected to be aggressive. A girl is not supposed to learn mechanical things, and a girl is generally not expected to be competitive and independent, which are considered as traits of boys and men. Being creative, emotional, gentle, this goes with female gender characteristics. Again, this is all absolutely not true. Any trait any person can possess, and that is what we have to normalize. Then this gender, which is a construct, then it becomes the traits, then it becomes stereotyping. Then what is stereotyping? Again, it is so much ingrained in our culture, they become our habitual response. And to add to that, the media and the films, any film which is a blockbuster hit always has a hero who is very masculine, who beats up hundreds of goons, and who has this very macho and alpha male who rescues the heroines, who it is okay for him to be very violent. And we've seen even today we see all the movies which are very very big hits, and so with the media and films it gets reiterated, reinforced that this is how is supposed to be. Then parents again, unknowingly also, we try to differentiate between sons and daughters in so many subtle ways. Even if we think that we are very gender neutral, we use kind of try to be tough with boys, thinking that they need to be tough, they go out in the world. Whereas with daughters, what do we think? We have to be gentle with daughters. And also when there is a violent behavior on behalf of the children, we always accept it from the boys than in the girls. We don't tolerate when girls exhibit such characteristics. So when again girls have very aggressive opinions, we don't think that they are leaders, we think that they are bossy. So this is the second step of our conditioning, that is stereotyping. Then what do you think? Is this stereotyping leads to a bias, and is gender bias a social evil? Of course it is. So gender stereotyping leads to gender bias, because we know every society, especially in Indian society, across the geography, I'll not name any states, every state, every region wants, every family, most of them want a male child. So the moment a female child is born, that is the reason why we have a lower female sex ratio when compared to the males. And again, in the oppression, it occurs officially, unofficially. It occurs in a written form, in an unwritten form. This discrimination occurs in workplace also. For example, a girl, when she marries, she may have to leave her job. When she becomes pregnant, she may have to leave her job. When there is a need in the family, she is the one who is stepping back and taking a second lead. And this wage gap, which again you must have seen in the example, how Ananya was forced by her husband to leave her job. So this happens many times. Sometimes the woman herself goes back, because society will not accept if you say that I'm not going to leave my job, and my job is important to me. And again, sexual harassment is there everywhere, right from eve teasing to catcalling to even actual rapes. So again, we see all of us have seen in all the festivals that women are compared to goddesses, but then the tiniest of mistakes on their behalf makes them unworthy of being respected. They are judged a lot. So what do women want? They want to be treated as goddesses? No, they want to be treated just as human beings, as equals. So we understand that, yes, this gender stereotyping and gender bias, because of this, there is a centuries of gap between the male gender and the female gender. It's not a level playing field. You all must have already studied that voting rights have come late, and that there are very less women leaders in the politics, leadership, sports, and the opportunities are less. And still the social evils of child marriages and dowry are prevalent, and the access to education. Whenever there is a stressful situation at family, it is the girl's education which takes a beating and the boy continues to go to school. So it is not a level playing field. So what do we do now? But the need is not to fight amongst each other, but we have to work as friends. To do what? To create a gender neutral, gender responsive and equal society. What do we want? We want to create an equal society where there is gender based prejudice should not be there, and it should not be an issue of one gender. So this part of the presentation is more addressed to boys, because as allies, as people who can be bystanders, the boys have a bigger role to play in this. So it's just not enough to say that I don't indulge in such behavior, I don't do teasing, I don't trouble my friends, and I don't do catcalling and all that. It is not enough. You must be willing to take 8 more further steps to understand and to ensure that no other people, men, boys, commit such violence. So first is you share the care. So it's a known fact that women take 3 times more unpaid care and domestic work. They spend a lot of emotional labor and energy at home. So you appreciate, you respect, and always offer help whenever you can. And you encourage girls and women to take up their own interests. The first is share the care. And second is always examine yourself and your behavior, whether what I have told, what I have said, or how I have behaved, is it correct? So respect and be aware of your own behavior. Be open to criticism. So remember that when it comes to accountability, everyone is held accountable. So then change these notions of traditional masculinity as we see in the media and the films and everywhere. And boys are not expected to cry. They're expected to be strong and be a man. We always say, be a man. So treat everyone in the same way, regardless of gender, and break these norms and challenge the stereotypes, and always question those who do not allow you to challenge these stereotypes. So make this sensible male fashionable, not the alpha male. And the fourth is, the third extension of this third is, again, see, break these notions of stereotyping that men cry, men do break down, men can get anxiety, men will have emotions, men also can get abused. So it is men have mental illnesses, men also struggle. So again, men can be sensitive, and only sensitive men will change the next generation, not the toxic male. Then coming to the fourth, you respect others' choices. Again and again, we have telling this because it's basic. You have to respect anyone's choice. It may not appear to be correct to you. It may not appear appropriate to you. But when you feel that someone is not being right in their choices, ask yourself why. You examine your biases. You consider the circumstances, the how your life is different from their life, and do not judge or shame them for whatever choice that they are talking. We have talked about that, one has to complain, one has to report to the higher authorities. Sometimes a girl might not be willing to report, so, or she might take some other decision. Then at any time, do not judge or shame other people for their choices. Then very, very important thing is to understand consent. It is being told that consent has to be discussed when young. What is consent? Consent is freely given. It should not be given under any pressure. It is fries, FRIES, and it is reversible. Like if someone gives consent to you that to go out with you, or to have a cup of coffee with you, or to go out to a movie with you, but that can be reversed at any time, and it is informed. You have to inform whatever you are planning to do and take consent for that. And it has to be enthusiastic. You should not use any pressure or blackmail or some kind of this thing to obtain a consent. And it has to be specific. Specific in the sense, like if someone agrees to you to a cup of coffee, that consent is only limited to that particular action of coming out for a cup of coffee. That's all, nothing else. So this is consent. And all these phrases, again, in the movies and songs, we have हंसी तो फंसी, अगर ना बोले तो हाँ है तो ना है. All this is not true. Clear consent is just yes. And all these statements of she was asking for it, boys will be boys, why did you go out the other day? Never do this victim blaming. So consent, you have to understand what consent is and what is not consent also. Then sixth is call out harassment and sexism wherever you see it, because this happens everywhere, in the buses, on the roads, in the workplace, at the school, also in the WhatsApp groups, on the social media. So it is universal. So whenever you see, as an ally, you are not in danger. So you can call out such behavior. If the onus of calling out such behavior is on the girl, it is stressful and she might not feel safe. But you can do this. You can be an active bystander. And even if the people who are indulging in such sexism and harassment, even if they are your friends and relatives, please do not excuse them. If you are excusing them and being silent, that means you are in a way indirectly helping in the perpetration of this violence against women. Then coming to seventh, again, gender stereotyping. Challenge these gender stereotyping examples wherever you see. Many times we hear, if some car is going slow or some car has met with an accident, the first statement is it a woman? And women are not good at this. Women can't handle this. How is it that a woman can do this? All these things, whenever you hear, you please question and counter the argument with facts. Tell that driving is a skill which is not dependent on gender. Anyone can acquire it. So this is how you have to counter. Then again, to reiterate, always believe the survivors. Whatever be the situation, when a woman speaks about her experiences and she's not believed, that is how this toxic culture flourishes. And whenever you hear a survivor story, these three things are to be done. One is listen, believe, and support. And that's how to be an ally, that's how to be an active bystander, and that's how to offer unconditional support. And change the dialogue, because you are the next new generation which are going to be adults and leading this world. So change this dialogue that women should stay at home. No, anyone can do anything. With this, I end my talk on this, and any interaction, chat, and all is welcome. Some interaction, if you want, we can have. And again, you end every presentation with to complete the post test and to complete the feedback, and also tell about the certificate that they are going to receive.
Very nice presentation, Dr. Kiran.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nisha.
So if there are no questions, should I move to the next?
Yes, ma'am, it was very well explained. I think it was self-explanatory, no questions.
Yeah, thank you, Charu. I think we have Ajay here, or he has left.
Actually, these modules are really made very well. I also feel they are really made well.
It took a lot of, churning, brainstorming. Youngsters were put into this work from their perspective, because as we don't have their perspective, what is acceptable to them, what they understand, the examples and everything. After we have done, it was really very nice to see. We submitted the presentations to them. They went through it and gave a lot of suggestions. And yeah, Dr. Nisha, without further.
Yeah. Okay. So joining you all back again. And after these wonderful sessions from Dr. Lakshmi and Dr. Kiran. This is the last segment and a very important one. When you talk to the students, when you'll actually take the sessions, you know, this is one that they need advice about, that they need to know about. So decoding peer pressure. Now, main highlights will be that how to identify a toxic environment among the friend circle, among, you know, when to see that there is something wrong, we need to act in a different way. Good versus the bad touch, that is, though we teach the younger students also, but in this 9 to 12th age group also, re-strengthening that. And then the concept of consent has been partly taken, but still furthermore, we'll talk about that. And the power to say no. We have to make our students learn that, both boys and girls, that whenever there is a need to say no, you should be able to say no. So we'll cover up how to say that no. So what is peer pressure? Peer pressure is any influence that the people around you have. So because we are talking to school children, so it will be their colleagues, which could be senior, their batchmates or younger ones. And most of the time peer pressure is too subtle to identify. You know, they would not know, and there would be an effect of the friends around them. And they might be imbibing some of the habits not knowingly. And so this is, and they may be doing certain things just because they feel my friends are around, what will they think about me? So this is a kind of a peer pressure. It could be a spoken thing. Somebody just says that, let's go for a party, you know. Sometimes it may be not spoken, but they're just doing it. And so you feel, the child feels that I should also do it. So that is unspoken, but it is, you know, just by watching. It could be a direct thing, something like handing over a cigarette or a glass of, you know, alcohol or anything, which is like telling them. And then is the importance of, you know, being able to say no if you do not want to do that. It can be indirect. That is when a peer overhears another gossiping and changes behavior due to indirect pressure. So you hear that somebody is talking about you, or maybe you feel that they are talking about your dress sense or your, you know, anything, the way you carry yourself, or so, and then you try to change just to show off, kind of. That is also an indirect peer pressure. It could be whenever it could be negative, it can be positive. So whatever we spoke till now is more of negative actually. So when the peer is pressured into behavior that is against their normal code, so when you're doing what you normally do not do or you do not want to do, but at times it could be positive also, it could be healthy also, because you see nice things being done and you try to follow them and then do it. So it could be positive also. But then mostly what we need to learn about here in this presentation is the negative peer pressure, which tends to have an adverse effect on you. So what are the signs of toxic environment? The children, they are surrounded by friends, colleagues, and then how to identify that these people are really my friends or they are doing me any harm. They may do me a harm. So what will be the indications? Indications will be like, you may put your ideas also into the chat box when a child should feel that this is a toxic environment for me. So when your friends try to say something which is not nice about you, when you start feeling bad about yourself, then it is not a good environment. When your friendship to them is on some terms, they say, okay, you get me this, then you remain in our group, otherwise you are out of our group. And when there is a constant gossiping about other people, about other friends, then it is not a very nice place to be with. And all the effort of continuing the friendship is one-sided. Then talking about boundaries, whenever you say that, no, I cannot do this, they don't like it, or they try to, you know, or you're not able to say that these are your boundaries. So these are the indications that this is not a good circle. This is a toxic environment for you. If there is a competition to be popular, if all the people in your group are trying to become more popular, in the school or in any kind of festival or something. You are terrified one mistake could make them leave you. So if you're so dependent on them, then also it is not a very healthy friendship, healthy sign. And when they encourage your worst traits, they make you, they encourage you to show your anger or misbehave. So these things are, it means they are not actually your friends, but they are doing harm to you. So how to avoid uncomfortable situations? So one is, you have to recognize that this is not, this is a toxic environment for you, for the children. And then once you realize, then how do you try to avoid the uncomfortable situations? Avoid going out with strangers. So when you're going out, always, so this is what we have to teach our children, our students, that whenever they're going out, they should go out only with people they know well and not with the strangers. And whenever they are going out, they should inform their parents or siblings about where they are going, by what time they'll be there. Take a phone with you. Nowadays, everybody has a phone, but then the phone should have, phone should be with you. It should not be on silent and all that. And respect other people's boundaries. So tell them that when they're going, they have to understand if the others are saying something, they have to respect that. And draw your own boundaries also. Be confident to say no to anything you are not comfortable with, and dial the police number 100 if you feel a sense of danger. So we showed number of other numbers also, and we were discussing that, but this 100, everybody knows, the children know and everything. Just give you a small example here, just few days back, my daughter went somewhere and then she told us, I'm going there and then she'll be back by this time. Within that time, she had to buy something. She went to another place and then finished that, came back within time. But when I just came to know, I told her this only, that why this change in the place you did not inform to us. Just in case something wouldn't have happened, we wouldn't have thought that you were there. So that's the kind of, the importance. Children do not realize that how does it matter? I came back in time. But then the whereabout is very important. So we have to just tell them that how it is going to help you. And then when I told her, she understood that, yes, that would have, it could have caused trouble at some time. Okay. Now coming to how to differentiate the toxic people. So what boys should avoid? See, we will just go through these points and you will realize we do see these things happening very often around us. There are boys who are against feminism. So we have to teach our boys or the students whom we are talking to that, many times among boys, there is a group who will say that these girls are feminist, why they are doing this, why. So if there is some kind of negativity against feminism, it's not a very healthy thing. Boys who are rude to their mothers, this is also not a healthy sign. Once, if they learn to respect their mothers and sisters, then they respect the other girls and women also. Boys who don't respect your physical boundaries, this is for boys again, but if you have in your group people who are not respecting your physical boundaries, boys who pressure you to send the nudes, boys who start fighting, boys who use slurs, and boys who comment on a girl's appearance without her asking for an opinion, boys who make rape jokes. So these are some of the examples. There could be more. You can put them in the chat box and we will hear more from you. So these are some of the aspects which make us understand that they have some kind of negative notion about the females or even amongst the boys themselves. Then for the girls who think it's unmanly to cry. Now, becoming a feminist is good, but then becoming too much, thinking that if you cry, it is wrong. It's nothing wrong if you're feeling bad and you cry. It's okay at times. Girls who hit or slap their boyfriends. it might sound very, like it's like the other extreme. So they are behaving in another extreme. So at one extreme is a girl who accepts, is submissive, accepts everything, tolerates everything. That also we do not want. But we do not want girls like this also, that they do not respect people around them. And girls who are totally materialistic, girls who call other girls by wrong words, girls who don't respect your physical boundaries, girls who call you a girl thinking it's an insult, girls who don't think men can be victims of abuse and rape. So even the other extreme is not good. So therefore, children have to understand that they have to have a normal behavior. And if you find these extremes of behavior in your colleagues or peers, then you have to understand that it could be, they could create a toxic environment for you. Now, setting boundaries. So boundaries, as we said, once you set your boundaries and then learning to say no. These are the two important components of saving yourself from any kind of violence. So learn to put yourself first, set your boundaries that you are comfortable with. And you have to learn to, kind of say that no in different ways. Like if you just read some of these statements, which are very nice. I'll end this phone call if you continue to shout. So if you're having an argument and you are not feeling comfortable with somebody, you can just stop talking to them at that time. If somebody wants you to stay for a long time, you have to set your boundary. You have to say, no, I can stay only for 10 more minutes or half an hour more. Then things like, thank you for your offer. Unfortunately, I can't make it. So you can politely say a no in different ways. I'm not comfortable discussing that. Please do not discuss it with me. I need time to think about it. I'll come back to you. So whenever you are feeling that this is, whatever conversation is going on is not making you comfortable, you have to stop that, leave that place, and maybe talk about it later. And then that itself will give it like a no. Then this is very interesting. I don't respond to work emails at weekend. Now this is about the workplace harassment sometimes that happens, which is not a physical, but a mental one, kind of, forcing somebody to keep working over the weekends. So there has to be, the choice has to be respected. I'm not comfortable with that. If you do it again, I will have to leave. So these are some of the ways you have to say. So we have to make our students learn that these are the ways you can say that. Or we put them a situation and then we ask them that how can you set your boundary and how will you say a no. So talking about the good touch and the bad touch. This is taught, we actually teach our children much earlier than 9th standard. So if you see this picture, these two pictures of, you will realize that the red area is the bad touch. That will, of course, be the lips and the mouth area, and then the chest and the part between the legs. So this definitely nobody can touch. The children should know about this. But even the may not like area, the light green ones, are areas which normally people whom you are meeting should not be touching. So that is whole of your face and your shoulders and the neck also, and then the knees and the feet also. So the green, clear green is actually the hands only, which is like, so shaking hands or just talking to children. So that should be considered as a normal or good. The rest, if it goes a little beyond, and peer pressure can make it feel like all touch is acceptable, which is not true. Speak out whenever you feel uncomfortable. You have the power to say no. So it's gradually, they will know the friends that they are with them for a longer time, and then they know how much, so closeness of your friendship and how long it has been, how much your parents and your family knows about. These things will also make a difference. But by and large, the bad touch should be clear to you. Now, the concept of consent that we have talked, Dr. Kiran also talked about part of it. So consent is permission for doing anything. Always ask for consent. Do not assume the consent and respect the consent. Never coerce a consent. So it cannot be taken automatically that because someone is a friend, they will accept this, or they will go with me anywhere they want to, or they will do this because they are my friends. That's not true. So even amongst friends, there has to be a consent asked for anything. And there are various ways of saying no, again, put up here, things like just stop, turning away, or I don't want to, showing you away, leave me alone. You can say anything and then get away from it. There could be various ways of saying no, but yes means one thing only, that is yes. So until unless it is a clear yes, it is not a consent. So it should be a yes, then only you understand that the person is willing to do that. So this is a freely given consent where both the person's needs, wants and desires are an integral part of the interaction. Stand up to peer pressure. Just say no, this we have been talking. And we said some of the ways to say that see you later, or make up an excuse. Just say that I've got some work to do, I'll come up later. Or maybe, somebody is wanting you to stay for a longer time. You can just make some humor, like things like here that my parents will kill me, or my parents will lock me. And or you can just change the subject. Let's talk about, let's go for a walk. Let's get out of here. I'm feeling hungry. Anything like that could be done to change the topic or to come out of that situation which is appearing toxic to you. So you're never too young to respect the women, and you are never too old also. So all through your life, one has to learn. Then that learning has to start from the childhood, dreaming for a better future, for our future. So actually, the girls and boys, the students have to be taught these things because they are our next generation. And as per Malala Yousafzai, I want every girl to know that her voice can change the world. We all know what she has done. She is one of an inspiration. But then all girls have to understand that they have a power of their words, of their actions. So you have all attended all these sessions, and after this you will be giving the post-test and then the feedback, and then only the certificate will be coming to you, the master trainers. And similarly, when you will conduct these sessions to the children, for them also the certificate will come after doing the post-test and the feedback. A sincere thank you to all those who helped collaborate on this project. And I don't know if I have to read all these names, but I very well know a lot of people. The hard work has gone. We were praising about the modules. Dr. Shanta, of course, has taken the lead with a lot of other doctors from Foxy. And although the non-medicos, Mr. Ajay is there in every program of DHEERA. And there must be a lot of other contributors who have helped. Like Kiran was telling that students were, the help was taken from some students and then the modules were approved from them. I can well imagine how much work everybody has put into this. The artists who must be credited for their work. So, courageous together, say no to violence against women. Thank you all. So we are done, Dr. Kiran?
I think we have come to the end of the presentations. Over to Ajay sir for operational matters, and if you have any queries.
Thank you. So in the next couple of slides, I will walk you through the entire aspect related to the operational plan and explain to you all how each one of you will be participating in this movement, which will be taking forward with each one looking out for each one and taking the process forward. The training session itself, sorry, the slides will be given to you by us. And as I put it in the chat box, there is a certain process we are following so that everything as a package reaches a master trainer who is going to participate in the training. No sooner you fix your date and time for the training program in the school, and a Zoom link thereafter will be sent accordingly. No changes, additions, or deletions are allowed in the slides, and that is one of the policy framework. 2 to 3 trainers can complete the 6 topics as you have seen today. Once the training date and time is fixed, inform us, and you can choose your own master trainers, the ones who have been trained by us. And if you don't have anyone from your society, we will allocate one. So we will give you that opportunity to choose one of yours. So the way to do it is, when you send us an email saying that you would like to conduct a session in so-and-so school on so-and-so date at so-and-so time, along with that also indicate your own trainers whom you would, along with their name and email, so that when in the next couple of slides I'll show you, in case we don't get that information from you, this schedule for the faculty for your plan will be then shared with all the 700 master trainers, and any of the master trainers from across anywhere in the country can volunteer to take that session, and then we won't be able to do much. So the choice is yours first to give us the name. If not, within the next day or 2 or 24 hours, we'll wait, and then we will send it across, because we do not want, as people who are managing as part of this whole team, that you are not without a faculty, and the faculty also requires some time to confirm. You can introduce yourself verbally before starting the session, and please do not add any slides for the same, as you have seen today. Running of the session, as you have seen, each session is about 15 to 20 minutes each, and usually we allocate one national observer for your session when you carry it out. And just in case that is not happening, I will request one of you who's a senior member in that day's session to lead the session and tie up the session, just as today Kiran Mai has done it for all of us. So it doesn't matter then, you can take it forward. Give a 5-minute break between 3 sessions or 3 topics, so that the students get a breather and there's some attention level loss is brought back to the table again. Make the presentations lively by building interactions through the chat box or through verbal or vocal interaction at the end of the first 3 topics, and at the end of the balance 3 topics as well. Spend that when you are taking your session, emphasize on them, those points. For example, what is the national helpline number? That was one of the questions. The number was 100, 1066, 161, and 1098. So the number is 1098. So please repeat it for their benefit, so that they're conversant with that bit, and be persuasive. You have seen today voice modulation, and add to it your personal experiences, because that is very critical. So then the students and the teachers relate to you, because you are the leaders of the OBGYN field. So when somebody with your authority and that experience, good or bad, talks about it, it makes an impact on young minds. Summarize the key points on the slides. Ensure that you keep informing everyone that registration, pre-test, post-test, and feedback are compulsory for getting a certification. And that you must have seen at the start of every presentation, at the end of every presentation, those 2 slides were narrated. I'll talk a little bit more about that in the next couple of minutes. The Zoom itself will be set up by us. And I'm happy to inform you that the Zoom capacity for us is to take in 500 participants. What it means is that you can combine 2, 3, 4, 5 schools. You can combine the students of 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. You can combine the teachers, so that what happens is when you get a massive, audience level for your session, you are able to maximize the time and effort that you are going to invest, and we all have already invested. Let me give you an example. In order to conduct any session, you require 2.5 hours. So 3 faculty into 2.5 hours, so 7.5 hours gone. 1 hour before you reach and 1 hour later you stay. So another 2 hours, so 2 into 3 is 6. So 7 plus 6 is 13.5 hours. And before you even start getting onto the school, you will build up some rapport and interaction with school. That will be another couple of hours gone. So typically between the 3 faculty, you would be investing, and all of us have invested at least about 30 to 40 hours. And if we can justify that with a larger audience, I think we'll do a much better and justify the entire effort that we are putting in. And more importantly, we will be able to reach the numbers that we are expected to do much faster. Just to throw numbers to you, we are planning to reach all 262 societies through this program, through about 3 to 3,500 schools, 5 lakh children, 15,000 teachers, and 37,000 Foxians. So that's the task that we all have taken on ourselves to move forward. We fix the date and time, inform us. We will send you the link, which can be shared with the school, and then they can register on those links. And the Zoom call will be opened on the day of your training program, and you will be allowed to share your screen. We would urge you, once you receive the PPTs along with the package, download them so that you can navigate your own slides at your own pace and take it forward from there. The backend team of Shriman, Bashir are already there and who have managed this session beautifully. Thank you, both of you. They will continue supporting each one of you moving forward. Now, let me take you through another aspect which I wanted to bring to your attention. Yeah. I hope you can see the screen. No. Okay. Can you all see the screen? This is not for you all to do anything. Yeah. This is just to let you know that this is how the control room is monitoring all the sessions. So we have 3 Zoom connections. Here are the dates. Here is the school program which is going on. And here is the master training program. And then we have one more program, the respectable abortion care program happening. So on each day, we know which session is happening at what time, where, and at which place, in which school. So you see, going forward from yesterday onwards, the slide has got busy. There are a lot more sessions now happening, and they will continue till end of February or beginning of March. Then the exams will come in and it will slow down, and then again from April it will start. So this is just to let you know that this is the control sheet that we are using. And so we will request you, the moment you fix your date, please let us know. So we block that date and time for you, because on that date and time we have 3 connections. So we can do that simultaneously, even if it is the same time, but we can't give it to you if somebody's already blocked that time. But please, 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 please do not try to block your slot without having fixed with the school. It's not a healthy practice, because you think you may want to block it, but if your school is not ready, we have given the slot to you and somebody else. That means, if Nisha wants to do some program, and if Poonam has already blocked it, and later on Poonam cancels it, Nisha is also lost out and Poonam is also lost out, and we've lost one session because we can't go back to that session again. So Poonam, I'm putting you on the spot, just taking your name for convenience because you're on my screen right now. Then I have to show one more thing to you all, because that is another important one, because that is how we control the faculty nominations. Give me a second. Yeah, and when I say we control the faculty, what I mean is, let me clarify, we don't control you, we just control the availability of the faculty for various programs, and we know which faculty is going to do what, where, and we can quickly have a turnaround for the same. Yeah. So before any training program is carried out, once you give us the date and time, so it goes into that master sheet for Zoom fixing, and that same thing gets copied over here. So let me give you an example. Yeah. Now, 11th February, if you see in this column here, let me blow it up a little bit. No, I can't. Yeah, I can't blow it up. These are the sessions here, 6 of them on the left-hand side. So on 11th February, Bharati School is going to have student program between 4 and 6. Can you see it? And the faculty which has been assigned or nominated by you is already here with their names and email. So faculty up till 16th of February is all full. So what will happen is a blank format like this will be sent to all the master trainers. Okay. And you can go and fill in your name and your email in the section that you would like to take. And you have to take 2 sessions back to back or interspersed. What is your choice? Once you put in your name, nobody else can add their name. And this is an absolutely open process, open to everyone. First come, first serve. So we are not putting a control on that. However, what we are going to do, since we are 750 of us, we want to give opportunity to everyone to be able to train the students and be part of this initiative. So if some faculty has done more than 5 or 6 or 10 trainings already, and by virtue of them being on their mobile phones all the time and entering their names first, we will request them to drop their names so that some other faculty who is interested and second in line gets an opportunity to conduct the session, just to be fair to everyone. So I hope I've given you enough information and I have given you enough food for thought and the thought process and the policy that we are following, so that everything works like a good train which is reaching from destination to destination with all of us as passengers and all the students and schools and teachers as passengers to move forward on this entire thing. Now the last bit, each one of you as master trainees who are attending the program today, there is a certain very nominal honorarium which will be paid to each one of you. I do know, and we do know, that none of you expect, and honorarium is not your motivation to be part of this team. But we have been able to negotiate with the donors and funders that if our Foxians are going to invest some time in getting trained, let us give a nominal honorarium, and which they graciously agreed, and we are happy to share that with each one of you who are on this call and all others who have been on this call earlier. So my office will be writing an email to you at the end of the session, once we have processed the certification and asking you to share your account details, please do not take that mail as a fraud and respond to that mail. The lady who will write to you will be Manisha, and she will be marking copies to me and to Foxy office, so you know that is genuine. And you feel free to please send it directly on that mail, because I'm not entering that particular zone. It's because it's assigned to someone and it's their job to do it, and I will not be looking at it. So do not mark me a copy back and expect me to then forward it to them. So please do that ASAP, because we are with the donor, we are on certain deadlines in terms of time. So by certain time, we have to complete all the payments. If the payments still remain for want of a bank account, we have no choice but to return the fund back to the donor, because that's the agreement. So I hope all of this is clear, and I'll be happy. And the team here, Nisha, Kiranmai, and Lakshmi will be happy. And Pratibha is also here. We'll all be happy to answer any questions that you have on the presentations that we had so far, or on any operational issues that you may want to clarify at this point in time. Thank you so much for a patient hearing.
There is one question by Dr. Bharti about colleges, sir. So not for colleges, ma'am.
Okay.
9th to 12th.
9th to 12th, fine. Thank you.
The program is in different phases. This is phase 1. Phase 2 could be colleges and others, but we are still not sure when that phase 2 will take place because of the funding, and we are trying to source the funding. For the current phase 1, we are funded till December 2022, so we are all taken care of.
Thank you. Sir, another question I had was, if we have the list of the master trainers from state-wise, because they know the local language, so when they are talking to the students, so could we have that list so that when we have a program in our school, we could try to put their names into it?
Certainly. That is part of the policy. So when we do that, when we send you, when you book your date and your time, and you identify, you add first yourself and the trainer you want to, and if there's nobody else, the email will go to the rest of the trainers from the state or their society. But what is happening is, Bharti, not many societies have volunteered. Okay. So out of 262 societies, we have about 90 societies who have volunteered. And I do know from Karnataka, there are quite a few societies who have, volunteered and come forward. So we'll try to.
Are these sessions still open to get in more volunteers?
No, today was the last session.
The last session, yeah.
We have done 12 so far.
Okay.
It's more than planned. And Kiranmai knows how much we had to fight to get it done, because she was part of the team to make sure it happened. And she was very, very forceful that no, sir, and no, ma'am, we have to get this done because more people are coming in.
Okay. So what do we do for those who still want to come in? They have to wait.
We will not be able to do it. Any more TOTs.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
If you have such motivated people who want to be part of DHEERA,
okay,
they can participate not as master trainers, but they can participate by identifying the schools.
Yeah, you can take them for that.
Students, more to this thing, and they could lead those sessions in terms of you being present there, making sure everything is tied up. And for all such people, we welcome them. The more the merrier, because they would have the reach. Just because you're not a master trainer does not mean it's end of the world. DHEERA is DHEERA, and DHEERA will continue with all our support, whether you're a master trainer or you're not a master trainer.
Very true. We can get them to get the organization and everything interaction together.
Organization.
Yes, thank you. That's good.
The final request is please on your videos, and we'll just take a picture, Shriman.
Yes, madam.
And because we have to put some pose, let's put this distress signal. Still some pictures have to come, some videos have to be switched on. Chitra? Priyankur?
Ma'am, I've kept it in mobile and iPad, so I just put on it.
Thank you for joining. So happy to see so
Mitra has
many.
disappeared. Prabha has disappeared. Pratibha has disappeared.
Pratibha,
Disappeared.
Padmini, madam. Okay.
I'm here, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah. We need a picture.
Padmini, I'm watching you. You are our star. You have to. We will very, very
That's
delighted.
the reason I pulled him. He has to do all the schools in Siliguri.
Yes, we are very delighted. Yeah.
Absolutely will do, ma'am.
Okay. If are the photos done?
Dr. Kanchan, sir, Dr. Kanchan is here. She knows lots and lots of people and schools in Konkan region. That's what Shanta madam told me. And Dr. Kanchan?
Kanchan, even if you don't get the schools, it's okay.
Unmute.
Kanchan, it doesn't matter if you don't get schools, so long as all the faculty to Goa.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you, Kiranmai, for this golden opportunity. And I'm really very lucky to have this TOT session today on the last session itself. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ajay sir. Thank you, Lakshmi madam.
Pleasure. Lakshmi, can I request you for one thing? Please, can you tell the process of when we leave the meeting, what is going to happen?
Very important.
The feedback.
No, what is?
Can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
Yeah. Once you press the leave button, you will get two icons, continue or exit. So please don't exit. Press continue so that you will go to the post test and feedback formality. Unless and until you also complete those two things, system will not recognize that you have completed the master training, as certificates are auto-generated by the system. So please complete those two steps. In case when you press those buttons and net goes out, or you have some other problem, or by mistake you have pressed exit button, please write an email to the DHEERA email ID which has been shared, and the backend team will take care of your certificate. But from your side, please press continue and complete all the formalities.
Sure. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, each one. Kiran, Mai, back to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Ajay sir. Thank you, Kiran ma'am. Thank you for the
Thank you,
initiative.
Kiran and Mr. Ajay, for making us part of this excellent program, which I think is going to be very helpful to our country.
I would like to say only one thing. So there is 16 days of activism from International Day of Elimination of Violence Against Women, which starts on 25th November. And then it ends after 16 days on the 10th of December, which is Human Rights Day. So, but that they want it to be 365 days of action. When you are showing that DHEERA school engagement, which was getting busy and with a lot of schools on each day. So I hope we move towards every day we have one or the other activity of the DHEERA school. Every day should be busy.
I think all of us together can do it. We hope to do it, Dr. Kiran Mai.
With Ajay sir.
Let's clap for the three faculty and including Pratibha, although she's part of the national team.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Final TOT done.
And Ajay, I am clapping for you also, because I know how dedicated you are and how overworked you are for this project.
Yeah,
true,
sir. True, madam.
Enjoying it. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. It was an excellent presentation.
Achiever award.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All the best. Yeah.
Thank
you. Bye. See you all. Bye.
Bye-bye. After we press the leave button, this continue comes.
Yes,
Is it
madam.
like that, Kiran Mai?
Yes, madam.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, I cannot see the content. Once I press the leave button, again it's coming, leave the meeting only. I'm not getting the continuing button. What else I have to do?
Okay, ma'am. We'll send a mail to your mail ID, madam. We'll send the link.
Yeah, for me also it's showing the same thing. When I'm pressing the leave, just it's again coming, leave the meeting only.
Okay,
Can we
ma'am.
leave the meeting?
Yes, ma'am. We can leave the meeting, madam. I'll share the link.
Okay.
So can we shall we leave? Shall we leave the meeting?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
I'll
right.
send you
Thank
the link
you.
to your mail ID. Welcome, ma'am.
Okay, then thank you.
Welcome, ma'am.
Hello, what about the test?
After you click the end button, you'll get a pop-up, madam. Continue. Click on the continue pop-up, then you'll get the post-session feedback.
We are not able to get that continue.
Okay, madam. I'll send to your mail ID, madam, the link. You just fill and send the link.
The same problem has happened with me even. So what to do?
Maybe,
can I leave or again try?
You just leave, madam. I'll send a link.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you. Do that, please.
Sure, ma'am.
I'm also not getting that continue. That will come, but it is not moving forward.
Okay, madam. I'll send a link, madam.
Ah.
I'll send to your mail ID. You have to click on the link and you'll get everything. The post and feedback. You just fill it and submit it. We'll get the data and.
Okay. Only you're sending, is it?
I'll send it to your mail ID, madam.
Only or
after some time, ma'am.
After some time. Okay. I will send it after that because it's not going forward. It shows give feedback, but when you click on that, it is not moving.
That is Zoom's feedback, madam. No need to worry. I'll send a link, madam, to your mail ID.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Welcome,
So
ma'am.
we can leave now, no?
Yes, ma'am. You can leave.
Okay.